Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:07. It's O'Connor and Company this Tuesday morning in your nation's capital. Thanks for tuning in here as we continue to move forward and try to give you something to talk about, something to feel inspired by, maybe even, something to be a little fired up about. That's our job. We're meant to inspire and stimulate, sometimes even provoke. If we don't do those things, we're not doing it right. It's not an easy job, Sometimes people get so angry they want to hurt you. That's all right. We're going to keep showing up every single morning just for you. Right, Julie Gunlock?
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes I want to hurt you. The best way to hurt Julie Gunlock is to have a dinner party and not invite her. So when your husband wants to get back at you, he plans some social event and does it on a day when you're out of town working.
I do get invited. I'm like, I'm not going. What are you, crazy?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. That's the knife that cuts too deep right there.
All right.
Coming up at 7:05. Colleen Stimson of Heritage Foundation. At 7:35, Reagan Reese, White House correspondent for the Daily Caller. 8:05. Hey, who's this guy? Bill O'Reilly. He sounds like an Irish broadcaster journalist. We already got one of those, O'Reilly. It's the O'Connor O'Reilly Show. He's like my great-grandfather, the way he treats me. But it's okay. He's never called me a pinhead, though, which always drives me crazy. You haven't lived until Bill O'Reilly calls you a pinhead. Heather, Michael, whoever screens the call before we bring him on, can you just ask him to call me a pinhead right before we start, just to sort of make my life? I want that soundbite. It'll be my new ringtone.
Oh,
thank you for
nice.
that. Michael gives me the thumbs up. He's all on board. Oh yeah,
yeah, sure.
Sheldon's like, to tell you the
gonna
truth,
be
Larry,
it's gonna be Michael's ringtone too.
I say that to every guest before we bring him on the air. Please call Larry a pinhead. Do it for me. I'm not allowed to. We have rules here in the studio. And then at 8:35, Justin Keener, president of Americans for Public Safety. You know who really drives me crazy? Those Americans who are against public safety. Don't like them. Want to hurt them.
You must have gotten sleep last night.
I was filling in for Mark Levin. So
that's right. That's
quite
right.
the opposite. I'm a little punchy.
I'm sorry. I did listen. You sounded great, and I love the righteous anger there.
There is. It is. We talk show hosts always have the id and the ego, right? You got the little angel on one shoulder and the little devil on the other shoulder. And for the most part here on O'Connor's and Company for the morning programming, the angel prevails. But when I get to fill in for Levin for 3 hours at 6 p.m., the id takes over. I have no idea what I'm saying. It's quite therapeutic, actually.
Well,
we've talked about our friend Corey Inganamort, who was the former producer of the Vince Coglianese show back when it was your afternoon drive program. And then he now works for Town Hall Media in Arlington and Rosslyn, Virginia. And he lives right near there as well. It's quite a nice quality of life situation for Corey, as he can just wake up, walk down the street, and be at work at Town Hall Media. That's with me and with Katie Pavlich, Guy Benson, Derek Hunter writes columns there, Kurt Schlichter writes columns there. We do a good job at Town Hall. Very proud of the team. He was going through one of his regular strolls through Northern Virginia. This is Alexandria, I believe, isn't it?
No, it's Arlington.
Oh, is this Arlington? Thank you.
This is Arlington, yeah.
Where he stumbled upon, all of your friends, Julie. These are the
friends.
They were all in costume. They were wearing their black-rimmed glasses, and they had their hair pulled up in a bun, and they were wearing their, Talbot's weekend cleaning gear. Yeah. And they were all down on a public sidewalk chalking somebody's house. Do you all know this phenomenon? They're like children, like they're doing a hopscotch thing on the sidewalk in front of someone's house, but it's graffiti. It's sometimes profane, always hateful graffiti, sending a message to the person who lives in that home. In this case, by the way, the home was Stephen Miller, the deputy chief of staff of the White House.
Yeah. This was actually a park across the street, but basically very, very close, where like the Miller's children, for instance, might play, or they might walk by, or they might go through. This was intended to for the Millers to see this, for their children to see this, for their neighbors to see this. It was it was on sort of a concrete slab in this park, edging this park, and these massive chalk drawn signs that said things like, if you tolerate this, because it said Miller is preying on families. Then it said, if you tolerate this, sorry, I started the video.
If you tolerate this, all our children will be next.
And then ask Katie Miller about trad wife cosplay, right? Hateful messages. The preying on families and if you tolerate this, all our children will be next. That is a call to violence, 100%. That is an incitement. That is, he's preying on I mean, that is really scary language they're using. This is 4 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. These women, these ugly, mean-spirited women, go into this park and do these chalk drawings to frighten the Miller family, to terrorize the Miller family, to hurt the Miller children. Mm-hmm. And again, this was all, I don't know how, but I have heard it was very close to where the Millers live. So again, this would be a park where them and their neighbors would use.
It's to isolate them amongst their neighbors. It's to other them. It's dehumanizing of them. It is to isolate them and hold them up for contempt among their neighbors. They may have neighbors who, were oblivious to what Mr. Miller did for a living. They may never even see Mr. Miller. They only see Mrs. Miller. She's not really a public figure necessarily. But this was, and by the way, the Molly Hemingway's headline at the Federalist describing this event is fantastic. Hate-free D.C. suburb showers harassment on Republicans in its midst. Because this neighborhood in Arlington has declared itself a hate-free zone. That hate has no home here, don't you know?
Well, if you'll remember, that article by Molly Hemingway was actually written in reaction to the doxers in the Alexandria, Virginia neighborhood, which I actually found through a Blue Sky post. An Alexandria woman named Becky Hammer posted on and pointing to his house, doxing him, pointing to his house, conveying to every lunatic lefty in Alexandria and worldwide where J.D. Vance's house was in Del Rey. So she wrote that about the authoritarianism that is rampant in Alexandria and Arlington, all of Northern Virginia, frankly.
It's something sadly that has gained traction in our community, where we have people. The politics is the sort of business in this town, right? That's the business that drives the economy of this town, and we all work in the business. And some of us work on one side of the equation, and some of us work on the other side of the equation.
Yeah, yesterday I tweeted a story I don't talk about very much, but I really
is it a story longer than 15 seconds?
Yes.
Then tell it in a moment. Just hang on, stand by. It's 5:15 WMAL.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Arlington Democrats, and it's been traced that many of these women work with or at least volunteer with the Democratic Party of Arlington County. They, of course, are all on Team Spanberg. This is what you get as Spanberg becomes governor. This is who you will get running your lives in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Take note. They were caught chalking all the concrete in the park adjacent to where Stephen Miller and his lovely wife live and raise their 2 little children. 3 little children?
Three.
To intimidate them and to other them in front of their neighbors. Democrats don't want Republicans living in their neighborhoods, at least not effective ones. They'd love to have, James Langford living in their neighborhood. Yeah. Although, no, actually, that's not true. Because they hate James Langford, too. They hate George W. Bush, too. They hate Mitt Romney, too. They hate John McCain, too. They're just pretending not to nowadays because it suits their.
They might not kill you, though, if you keep
purpose.
your political affiliations to yourself. They might not kill you.
But they don't live by those rules in any way whatsoever. But that's what's happening in our community, in our neighborhoods around Washington, D.C. These people love to reap the benefits of the fact that we're in the nation's capital and that politics and government fuels the economy so they can live in such nice homes. But they hate you for being a part of that machine. They want one-party rule. They want one-sided conversations. So, Julie, you were going to tell us a story a moment ago.
Yeah, I just think people should know this isn't new. This isn't a new phenomenon. They've been doing this for years and years. 8 years ago, when the Parkland shooting happened down in Florida, and you'll recall the reaction to that was a bunch of school-based walkouts. And they had that big event on Capitol Hill at the Capitol sort of for gun, gun laws. Restrictive gun laws. And I, at the time, in my other job at the Independent Women's Forum, I used to go on Fox quite a bit. And I went on Fox talking about these school-based walkouts and was kind of I was a regular guest on Fox and other stations defending the Second Amendment. For that, a group of Moms Demand women realized who I was. We went to the same elementary school, and one woman in particular told her son to be mean to my son, the third grader. My little boy was in third grade, and told her son to be mean to my kid, and my little boy was ridiculed and called stupid and kicked and spit on, and he got all the other little boys in the class to be mean to and my son never told me. He didn't tell me for like 6 months, and then finally he burst into tears and told me, and we found out. And then through the grapevine, I found out that this mom had been bragging about it. She'd been bragging to other moms how she got her son to be mean to my son to get back at me for going on Fox. So I think the reason I don't tell this story very much, right? It's just something I endured. We endured as family. Everything's fine, whatever. But I tell this story to know that these are truly dark, despicable people, soulless people who will use their own children to get back at you. When all of this is happening, I always remember that story in the back of my mind because I have seen the depths to which these people will go to get back at you. If you are the wrong political party, if you advocate the wrong things in their minds, it's pretty kind of sick when, well, it is sick, but I mean, if you think about it too much, it can be kind of depressing. And that's why I talk about living in this community. It has been hard on us as a family to live among these people who don't just wish you harm, they'd be joyful. And that's what we're seeing with this Charlie Kirk thing. The joy that some of these leftists are feeling at the death of Charlie Kirk, the violent death of Charlie. They want this. They want this for you and your family.
Yeah, they're warped. They're warped because they're losing. They're desperate. And the fact that just days after Charlie Kirk hasn't even had his funeral yet, and they decide to go after Stephen Miller and his family and his children this way. Here's a little listen to Corey in Ganamort, who encountered these women and decided to capture their behavior on his smartphone. Take a listen.
Yeah, if you want some chalk, you're welcome to.
Thank you. Miller is preying on families. Do you think that's appropriate rhetoric 4 days after a political leader was assassinated?
Yeah.
Can you explain yourself, please?
Absolutely. He is...
Praying? Wouldn't that incite a reaction to...
Oh, shut up.
Wouldn't that incite some sort of violence? No, I'm not...
They're so clueless. You're writing in a park that one of your neighbors is preying on innocent people, and you don't think that's going to incite any kind of reaction.
She knows.
No.
She knows. She just does not expect to be challenged, because that's the other thing in Arlington. You're pretty much safe from any kind of challenges. People just don't speak up. So I think Corey probably rattled her a bit, and she's just like, "Oh, shut up," because she got caught.
Well, Corey is 6'5", I think, and she claimed one of the people who he described in his post on X as the chubby one. Corey, the chubby one in the green shirt, accused me of being threatening.
Because also,
do we have that? Oh, there's a cut
we
of
have
him saying that?
Cut
Let's hear him say
two.
that then. All right.
So you just want families to come by and read this and think that that's, what, fine?
Yeah, they can look it up.
I think this might be harassment.
Yeah, I think so.
Back off. I feel threatened by you.
Actually touching me
No,
is...
you are threatening women. You're a tall man and you're threatening us, and we feel unsafe.
Oh, it's so good to be the victim, isn't it?
If you could see the video, she backs up into him. She touches him. He's standing there. And so she backs up into him and then goes, I think you're threatening me. Like, it's just so ridiculous.
You're threatening me as she writes in chalk on a sidewalk in front of the Miller's home that the occupant of the home is a predator. You're threatening me. It is, God, the unbelievable privilege of being a liberal woman in our society.
I know.
Where you can do and say anything that you want. You can even change the logo of Cracker Barrel. And then when people call you on it, you're a tall man and you're threatening me. I've had enough of them. It's fine.
I mean, honestly, there were really not enough.
Take those glasses off. You're threatening me. It's 5:23.
Well, if you were watching the 5 yesterday, boy, Greg Gutfeld, he has had enough with this both sidesing. Jessica Tarlov got quite a mouthful yesterday. We'll tell you about it. Keep it here. It's 5:30.
WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 5:37 on O'Connor and Company. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here as we get you started the right way in your day. At 7:05, Cully Stimson from Heritage will be our guest. At 7:35, Reagan Reese, White House correspondent for Daily Caller. 8:05 will be Bill O'Reilly. He's got a new book. Confronting Evil, Assessing the Worst of the Worst. All right. Well, it's a good time to have that conversation. 8:35 will be Justin Keener, president of Americans for Public Safety, as the president has a new initiative for 2 more cities to be cleaned up and made safe again with law and order. He did say, if I remember right, during the litany of things he was going to do should he be reelected, Julie Gunlock, that we will make America safe again, right? That was one of the, he would do the litany and the build-up and this and that and this and that. And then, so he's doing that. That's all coming up. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock, the Grand Dame of Independent Women's Forum.
Good morning.
That's your title now, isn't it, Grand Dame?
Yes.
Duchess. Yeah.
That's it. Lady Grantham.
We had a bit of a, can I say spate? I never know what are the 7 words the FCC tells you can't say? Is spate one of them? I feel like
I don't think so. I think you're safe. You're good.
We've had a spate of television commentators who have been re-energized by the events of last week, who are sort of fed up and they're not taking it anymore. You know, we're asked when we do these hits. They call them hits, by the way. I love the violent nature of political discourse in our nation.
Good grief.
You're not invited to come on television and to express your views in a panel show and discussion. No, it's a hit. Come and do a hit. Well, I'll give you a hit. We're asked to do these hits, and they often pair us off for one reason or another with someone who has differing opinions, and we're meant to battle it out in front of the cameras on live television so that everybody can see us express those things. And you know me, Julie, I'm a puppy dog. I always try to do my best to make a joke and have some fun with the person who's disagreeing with me before I, hammer them with a one-liner or something like that. It's good television. That's the point.
Sure.
And it certainly continues post Charlie Kirk assassination. But I've noticed a trend. Something is different. One encounter with Batya Ungersayer with Geraldo Rivera on News Nation was noteworthy, and we're going to play that for you a little later this morning. Also, a moment on the Abby Phillips show with former New York State Representative Joe Borelli, where he absolutely silenced that panel, which cannot be silenced.
Yes.
With facts and data and details, and we'll play that for you a little later in the program. We're going to begin, though, with friend of the program and a good man, Greg Gutfeld. Greg Gutfeld, of course, hosts 2 shows on Fox News. He's so popular. His late-night quasi-comedy talk show, Gutfeld, at 10 p.m., not really late night, 10 p.m. And then The Five. The Five is actually the most watched show on cable news, and sometimes even on cable television, depending on the week. We're in Monday Night Football season, so not this week. And one noteworthy absence from last week's post-Charlie Kirk assassination discussion on The Five was Jessica Tarlov. She was not on the air. Yesterday was her first day back. Ugh. Jessica Tarlov, one of the most irritating liberal voices on Fox News Channel. By the way, I just want you to know,
legitimately, like her vocal fry.
Her voice is just irritating. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know people who know her, who are conservative, who say, "Oh, she's wrong about everything, but she is actually a very lovely person." That's fine. I don't care. I don't know her. All I do is watch her on television, and she is irritating. She's incredibly irritating. And what really bothers me about her is that she just repeats the same talking point I've heard everywhere else, without anything nuanced, anything new, or anything to bring to the table to make it different. Alan Colmes, who was often the liberal voice on Fox News, he was much more effective, I think, at delivering these little barbs.
Really quickly on Jessica Tarlov, because a couple weeks ago someone went off on her, and then I think it was, I can't remember, Joey, and then a bunch of Fox News hosts went on Twitter and said she's a lovely, did that whole thing.
Yeah,
we disagree. She's a lovely person. Even Joey himself went on and was like, I love Jessica. I went off on her, but I love her. And they're gonna then we're gonna see a whole new round of that. Jessica Tarlov was probably one of the worst commentators about parents during COVID. I will never forgive her for how she treated parents that go to school board meetings like terrorists. Yes. She repeated all of those Democrat talking points that parents are terrorists, that poor teachers are being intimidated, that parents want harms to teachers.
You can be a lovely person.
They have to. How dare you ask them to open the schools? How dare you ask them to lift masks? She was literally horrible, and parents really struggled during that time. And so, fine, right. She's a lovely person. I don't care.
Well, here's Greg Gutfeld not caring one bit as Jessica Tarlov tried to do the whole, both sides are guilty of violence. Here's Greg responding to that talking point.
It wasn't school indoctrination. Kerry Lake went off on that. He was in an online apprenticeship program at Dixie Technical College, which I don't think was changed.
I would just note the family
but they didn't say when he changed. Yeah. I'm just saying we need more information before you
Charlie Kirk at a dinner.
We don't need more information.
Really?
Yes, we don't need it. What is interesting here is why is only this happening on the left and not the right? That's all we need to know. There's absolutely no cognitive...
What about Melissa Hortman that we just talked about?
You want to talk about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter?
Don't play with me. You know what I'm saying is there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your. What about this? The fact of the matter is the both sides argument not only doesn't fly. We don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That is dead.
He went on, actually, and it was beautiful to see. And if you want to hear it in its glory on cable news where there are no FCC standards, if you want to see it without the beeps, you can certainly find it readily available on social media. Well done, Greg. It's 5:43.
Later this afternoon on the Derek Hunter Show, President Trump has announced that he plans to speak at Charlie Kirk's memorial. Democrats express outrage because, of course, they do. We'll talk about it at 3 o'clock on WMAL.
So that was Greg Gutfeld in a profanity-laden diatribe against the attempt by Jessica Tarlov to both sides this. Oh, both sides are guilty. Both sides are guilty. And it's a deception. It's a lie. And I've been trying to express how unfair and debilitating to public discourse this lie is, and I haven't been able to put it into words. And God bless it, I do love it when one of my colleagues is able to do it better than me. And rather than steal it from her, which I usually do, I want you to hear it out of her own mouth. Batya Ungar Sargon who has been a rising star on social media and regular media. In fact, I think they just announced a weekend show for her on News Nation. She's part of the Mark Halperin two-way platform. She used to be a woman of the left, did she not?
Yes,
I feel like she's sort of like a Barry Weiss type, right?
Yes, definitely. And she still can be frustrating on some issues.
Right.
You know, just like Barry Weiss. She's, not,
right.
she doesn't, she's not necessarily, I don't think she even identifies as conservative, but
she is a liberal who supports Trump. Let's put it that way. And, with this coalition that Trump was, again, I said this yesterday, set aside your political differences and figure out what you have in common. Well, that's what people like Pacha Ugersanger and Barry Weiss and Robert F. Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard have been able to do, and they get destroyed for it. Because they don't want you to set aside what political differences you have and just come together on over what you agree on. They want you to set aside your political differences and march in lockstep behind them as they do whatever the hell they want. That's unity for them. Yep. So here's Batya Ungar-Sargon on News Nation with Geraldo yesterday explaining how insulting and degrading this argument that we keep hearing over the time. Well, both sides are guilty of violence. Both sides have blood on their hands. Both sides have to tamp down the violent rhetoric. Here, take it away, Batya.
There's a lot of calls for unity now. I love calls for unity. There's also people saying both sides are to blame. This is a problem of political violence on both sides. I want to just explain briefly why this is so offensive to people on the right to hear right now. It's because it is not true. It is asking them to bear the burden of the guilt that harmed them before Charlie's body has even been buried. They are being asked to assume half of the guilt for a crime committed against their side, the likes of which there just is no parallel from right-wing violence to left. Has one Democrat come out...
Pause it there for a second. Pause it there. That is so beautifully said. That when somebody stands up and thumps their chest and says, yes, we're all guilty, both sides are guilty, and both sides need to own up to the problem with political violence. First of all, I haven't heard them own up to it. I haven't heard one person apologize for calling Trump and Charlie Kirk Nazis and fascists and dehumanizing them. But set that aside for a moment. Think about how humiliating this is for someone who is still great. We're not even allowed to grieve in our own time and in our own way. It is so dehumanizing to stand up and say, oh, yeah, it's terrible what happened to Charlie Kirk. You really need to speak out and own up to how you're partly responsible for it.
Right. And, for leftists who don't spend any time with people on the right, maybe you could excuse this. They just are such idiots. They have so cordoned themselves off. They live in such a bubble, right, that they just don't know. But this is what makes me mad about Tarlov. She knows this, and she knows how good conservatives are. She knows that we don't celebrate death like this. We don't take joy in the assassination and murder of other people. And she does hang around people at Fox who were friends with Charlie Kirk and knows the pain. And before we are even allowed to grieve, we're not allowed to grieve. You said that last night. It was such a powerful moment last night you said on Mark Levin's show when you were like, they won't even let us grieve. The steps of grieving, the steps of mourning.
Anger, denial, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
We can't even move on to the different stages. They won't let us even start, right? Before they're both sidesing it. You need to feel guilty about this too. You're just as responsible. It's monstrous. It's monstrous. There's no sympathy on the left for what their side has done, has created. There's no apology. There's no contrition. Same with COVID. Everything we've seen over the last couple of years, never a moment where they say, you know what, maybe I need to reflect on my own actions here. Never. Never.
No, we just need to move on and recognize that both sides are guilty of this sort of thing, and we really need to have a national conversation. Well, we're having that national conversation right now, and you have to confront what you have done first. You know why? You may think that it's equal. You may think that there's something equivalent on both sides. Funny. We're the only side that has a president with a hole in his ear because a bullet came less than an inch from his skull. And we have a 31-year-old father of two who is now, a corpse. And it wasn't some anonymous state legislator in Minnesota that no one had heard of until the moment some maniac who claims the Democrat governor, Tim Walz, ordered him to kill her. No. He was the leading voice and activist not just for conservatives, for young conservatives. Young, newly inspired conservative voices. That's who he is. So don't both sides us ever again until you own up and you apologize just a little bit and take your responsibility. It's 5:53.